Woo. Serious grunt out of the corners. Good brakes. Nice transition on and off throttle. That's fun.
Hi, and welcome to this episode of John's Motorcycle Rescue and Review. Today, I am with Kawasaki's 2015 Versys 1000 LT. For those of you familiar with this channel, you'll know that I absolutely love versatile motorcycles. I love the UJM, the Universal Japanese Motorcycle. Really, any motorcycle that's designed to do a wide range of riding and to do it well. Really, to some folks, you know, this bike actually represents kind of the pinnacle of that mindset and of that design. In previous videos, I have reviewed Kawasaki's Versys 650, which, man, I absolutely love that bike. And probably one of the best, most fun, just mid-range bikes you can possibly buy. Just love it to death. And I've also recently reviewed Kawasaki's Concours 1400, and it's just a fantastic kind of a hyper sport touring motorcycle. Really what this particular bike represents, the Kawasaki Versys 1000. It's as if I left the Versys and the Concours in the garage a little too long and they had a baby, and this is it. So when I ride this bike, man, it has almost as good a wind protection as the Concours. It's almost as fast, almost as smooth, and at the same time, it's as sit-up comfortable as the Versys 650. It's almost as flickable, it's almost as precise in the handling, but it's kind of a merge of those two machines, and that kind of the mindsets behind those two machines. What Kawasaki did is they took their Ninja 1000 Z1000 motor and they put it in an ADV style bike with more comfortable ergonomics, much better wind protection, longer travel, more plush, real-world suspension. Of the bikes that use that engine and transmission, I like the Z1000, I like the Ninja 1000. I love this Versys 1000. It's really more of a real-world capable, all-around capable machine. You're going to be able to travel on this longer in a higher degree of comfort than either of those two bikes. What makes this bike really special is the balance of the controls, the comfort, the ease of use. It has a very wide handlebar, so it transitions so lightly from side to side. And although it doesn't do it with the precision of the Versys 650, it does it with a high degree of confidence. You can ride this bike with confidence, and honestly, I do have to watch myself because I tend to ride this bike quicker than I should because it makes going quickly so easy. The motor in the Versys 1000 is a 1042cc fuel-injected inline 4, and it makes about 127 horsepower at the rear wheel and 76 foot-pounds of torque. which is stout. It really is. Wet weight, fueled up, this bike only weighs 550 pounds. You know, that's not super light, but really, you know, power to weight, this thing always has excessive power. It's not adequate, it's more than abundant, it's excessive. But it delivers it in a very, very smooth way, and so it's just not a bike that you're going to get on and feel like it's going to bite you. I have ridden bikes like that. Notorious for being like that is like the early model FZ09s. Were very on and off with their throttle, and even though they didn't make as much horsepower, you know, I always felt like that bike was just waiting to bite me. It was waiting to do something and get a little bit out of control. And this bike, the smoothness of the power delivery, the way the brakes engage, everything about it is smooth and easy to use and well balanced. And so it just makes it a very relaxing but fun place to be. As far as technical features goes, this thing is a Swiss Army knife. This has, you know, more tech than I think is actually necessary, but it really has some nice features. It's got 3-mode traction control, everything from you know, if you want to do some pretty aggressive sport riding, you leave it in 1. But if you're going to be riding in the rain or slippery conditions, you can dial it all the way back to a 3 that allows minimal wheel slip and no wheelies. It really limits that. It also has multi-power settings. So you can actually leave this in full power mode, and that's what, you know, I usually leave it in. But if you're in a limited traction situation, or if you're letting your buddy ride it and you don't trust him so much, you can put it in the lower power setting. That limits it to about 75% of the horsepower and torque. So that's another nice safety feature, especially if you're riding in inclement weather. Well, enough talk here. I'm going to throw on some gear, and we're going to take this bike out on the road, go for a ride, and give you my riding impressions of it, and tell you what I think. Then we'll come back here and wrap this up. All right, let's ride. All right, just looking at the instrumentation here. Got a very comprehensive dash and display, and we've got the power mode settings here, and I can, if I use the buttons that are here on the left side, I can select. I can go to low power or high power to full. I can also set my traction control. It's on 1 right now, which is the least intrusive, and then I can dial it through the traction control settings. And I usually just leave it on 1. It's also got a fuel gauge. It tells me my immediate miles per gallon. It also tells me my average miles per gallon as I'm riding. It has this ABS light will go off once it's at 4 miles an hour. This particular bike does have the optional gear indicator, which is really nice. It also has a 12-volt power outlet, which is also a really nice feature. While we're looking at the controls, this bike also has adjustable settings on your clutch and brake levers, which is really nice. And it allows for, you know, riders with different hand sizes to be comfortable. And it's got a big analog tack, which I really enjoy. And it's generally very readable, even when I'm out on the road. I don't have any problems with visibility on this display.
I am currently riding Kawasaki's 2015 Versys 1000, and what a fantastic machine. First impressions riding this are just how easy it is, how light it is for a bike that is a little bit taller, and it weighs 550 pounds, fully fueled. It really does handle so easily. I currently have the power in full mode. I have the traction control on 1, and that should be the least intrusive of the traction control options. Yeah, this bike transitions very easily from side to side. It reminds me a lot of the 650. It doesn't do so quite as easily or with the precision that the 650 transitions, but definitely is easy in the corners. The engine in this is not quite as smooth as on the Concours, but it's pretty close. The seat on this bike is a Seat Concepts seat, and it's very comfortable. Because of the wind protection, it's a little bit difficult to feel exactly how fast I'm going, and I have a little bit of an issue going a little bit faster than I probably should with this bike. But man, it's easy. Picking up from off throttle to on throttle is very smooth. Hustle out of the corner there is just tremendous, even with it revving pretty low. Transitions beautifully. Just pull the trigger. Yeah, it's got a lot of motor. When you get on the brakes, they aren't super grabby. There's a little bit of a, not softness to them, but they're just not grabby. And in real world situations, if you accidentally kind of quickly grab a little bit too much front brake, it's not likely to lock up on you or even trigger the ABS, which is nice. It goes with the nice, the way the throttle picks up. This is not herky-jerky on and off throttle, and I really appreciate that. The smoothness on and off throttle is, it's so easy to go fast on a bike that's smooth, and honestly, bikes that feel fast and are kind of jerky on and off throttle, it actually costs you in the corners. Get on it a little bit here. Engine has a very nice intake noise when you're on the throttle, and then it's really almost silent when you're not. Like right now, it's just, I can't hear the motor really. Very quiet. This would be fabulous to do a longer trip on, just due to the comfort, the wind protection, and just the ease. One thing that makes a really good long distance bike is having a bike that is comfortable and easy, and so it's not mentally taxing to drive. It doesn't take as much focus to drive it smoothly. With that motor, it's definitely more straight line capable. It's definitely faster than the Versys 650. And you know, for most of the riding I do, it's probably overkill, the motor in this bike. But it really, if you're doing some longer distance traveling, or you going, you know, up and over mountains with elevation change, that extra little bit of power there is really nice. Interestingly, with this bike, just the way it's geared and the way it delivers power, and even though it's faster and more powerful than the Versys 650, I'm not as prone to loft the wheel. Seems like it takes a little bit more speed to get the front wheel up in the air. So I'd say on fun factor, I would actually rate this a little bit below the Versys 650. But as far as overall comfort and certainly highway use, it's got much better wind protection. Very, very comfortable ergonomics. And just the ease with which it's going around these corners is amazing. Yeah, this road is far from perfect, but this bike is really just soaking up the bumps in a well-controlled way. It's not jarring. The suspension is fantastic. It's very difficult to tune a bike the suspension such that it's both compliant and well controlled, and Kawasaki's just done a knockout job on this particular bike. So really, in summarizing the way this Versys rides, it is very, very, very comfortable. Probably one of the most comfortable bikes I've ever ridden. As far as just ease in the cornering, it's probably the easiest leader bike I've ridden. As far as the way it transitions from side to side, it's just almost effortless. And the nice thing too with this Versys 1000, even though it is supremely capable, it's not like right now I am just tooling down through and it is not needling me to rip it up or to go fast, and I can really enjoy it at any pace. I don't have to be going fast on it to enjoy it. Unlike a cruiser, you know, I don't have to be going slow on it to enjoy it. It will really, you know, adapt to the riding situation. If you have buddies that have Harleys and you want to go riding with them, man, this bike would probably be the most comfortable bike at the group. And if you got buddies that ride sport bikes and you want to go ride with them, not only is this going to be probably the most comfortable bike in the group, it's also going to be one of the most capable. And on paper, even though it may not have the straight line speed of some of the super sports, it has real world speed, it's got real world suspension, and honestly, for real world riding, it's more capable than a lot of super sports. And while I have it, I will definitely look forward to putting some more miles on this bike. I'd actually like to do a back-to-back comparison with some of my vintage UJMs, just to compare what they're like and kind of compare, you know, what was a bike UJM from the 80s, how does that stack up to a UJM, a really capable UJM from 2015.
One last technical feature I wanted to go over. This bike is also equipped with a slipper clutch. Sounds fancy. All that means is on downshifts, if you downshift a little bit too early coming into a corner, it allows the clutch to slip a little bit on deceleration so that you don't lock up or hop the rear wheel. Really, for most people, most riding, they're never even going to activate that feature. But it is equipped with one, and that's something you usually only see on really high-end sport bikes and high-end motorcycles. This bike also has an adjustable windshield. This is in the lower setting. There are two knobs here. You turn these, and you can adjust it anywhere in that range. It's about probably a 4 or 5 inch range, and it goes up and down. It's, you know, you have to really be off the bike to do it safely, but it is something that, you know, literally takes a matter of seconds to move that up and down. This also has the really nice integrated luggage with it. I have the bags off of it right now, but they just mount and detach very quickly and easily. They're handy, and they carry a lot of, they've got nice luggage capacity. This one also has the Kawasaki, genuine Kawasaki fog lamps that really, at night, man, for night riding, those are fantastic. This bike also has ABS brakes, and that's just, you know, again, there's that added safety feature in limited traction conditions. It's really nice to have, or if you have something where, you know, a deer jumps out in front of you, you can quickly grab the brakes and maintain that high level of control, which is really what you want when you're riding. Things that would be nice if I could choose something to add to the bike. You know, I always like heated grips on it, and I think electronic cruise control would be great. I don't know if you can tell, but I really enjoy this bike. It has, you know, I'm an experienced rider, and so I really enjoy the power delivery, the ultimate power that it has, the capability, the wind protection, the comfort, the smoothness. Man, just the suspension sophistication, it rides nice and handles nice at the same time. It handles with ease, it rides with ease, and so it's not fatiguing. Man, if I want to go riding for a really long drive or do some touring or whatever, man, I have that capability, and I love that. Because this bike is not taxing to ride, it's also a fantastic commuter, and really with the amount of suspension travel that it has, It is comfortable on a wide range of road surfaces. So anything from a gravel road to a road that's more potholed, to a rough road, to really smooth tarmac, this bike is not going to, it's going to be capable in such a wide range of road riding that it's a really nice machine. This is just one of those bikes that any type of riding, it's going to do it extremely well. This really excels at most types of riding. It's not just good, it's great. For that reason, man, I give this bike 2 thumbs up. I really, really like it. I hope you found this video informative and entertaining. And until next time, enjoy the ride.